Good morning, everyone. This is Curtis Hawks with Insurance Agency Marketing Services. I want to thank everybody for taking the time to be on the call with us today. We've got a very special speaker, David Bidwell. He's with Lincoln National. He's the sales vice president over there and oversees the Money Guard product, which many of you have probably heard of. It's been one of the top competitors in the asset-based long-term care market for a very, very long time. And so he's going to be taking us on a deep dive of that product, how it works, and how you can position that to have success in today's market. Before we get into that, I did want to take a couple of minutes. I know we've got a lot of advisors on the call today, some who currently work with IAMS, some who don't. So I wanted to take a couple of minutes and just give a high-level overview of some of the ways that IAMS is here to help support our advisors. First thing, I wanted to go through our new producer builders. And this is really a great way if you're a new rep to IAMS or you're looking at them. This is a great way for us to meet you where you're at and help you to get to where you want to be. And so you can see there's a variety of different options on there, but essentially how this works is as you come on board and as you're writing business with us, you can qualify and get additional forms of support, whether it's marketing, whether it's you're just looking for trips or cash bonus. But no matter where you're at, we've got different levels there that can help you from a point standpoint. The other thing I would mention to you as well is if you're currently doing marketing right now and it's working really, really well for you, reach out and talk to a sales director over here. If you'd like us to partner with you on something that you're currently doing, we're more than happy to do that as well. Next, I wanted to take a minute to talk about a couple of different programs. The first is our referred producer program. So if you're currently with IAMS and you know of an advisor who maybe isn't quite happy where they're at or is looking to make a change, send them our way. Reach out to one of your sales directors. Not only will you get a $50 bonus when that advisor gets contracted, but you'll also get a $100 check when they write their first piece of business. And then on an ongoing basis, and I think this is a big differentiator for us, but on an ongoing basis, you'll continue to get checks on a quarterly basis based off of their production. You don't have to do anything. We'll take care of all the service and support for that rep. And so it's a great way to generate additional revenue that can go back into your business. We also have our marketing reimbursement program that covers both annuities and life insurance, as well as single premium life. And again, this is a great way to double the size of your marketing budget. So as you're producing business, IAMS will invest money back into your practice to help generate more prospects. Back office support really has been a key core component this year. I think a lot of IMOs talk about having good back office support and talk about having good support. I think we've got some of the best in the industry, but I really think this year with COVID has put a spotlight on making sure you have a really good team of people around you to help get things pushed through the carriers. As a lot of the carriers have gone remote and have limited staff in office, having somebody there that can get you the things that you need, that can hammer the phones, all those types of things are critically important, as well as having the right team of people around you to help with sales, case design, etc. As we've seen this year, technology has significantly grown, and the need for technology in the virtual world that we're in has grown. And so I do want to take a minute here to make a point about Firelight. We do have that on the IAMS website. You can see here the carriers that we have available on there, and we've got a number of carriers that we're in the process of adding on. If you haven't used Firelight before, I would encourage you to take a look at one of our webinars discussing that, or reach out to one of the sales directors. It is a great platform for being able to do e-applications and do meetings virtually. So if you've got questions on that, certainly feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to help with that. We've also got our marketing solutions, and creative, I think, is really the key word. One of the themes that we've seen this year is obviously a lot of reps marketed in certain ways pre-COVID, and then one of the things that we've seen over the course of this year is something that might have worked pre-COVID doesn't necessarily work the same way in a post-COVID world. And so one of the things that we've spent a significant amount of time doing this year is really looking at the different marketing solutions that we have and making customizations, doing innovation, to help generate a consistent flow of prospects. And so one thing I would encourage everybody to do is, if you have not spoken with your sales director about getting a marketing analysis done, I would encourage you to reach out to them. Essentially what we do is we take a look at what your goals are, what your business looks like, what are your marketing assets, and then they'll work with you on a custom marketing plan based off of your area and target market, and then put together that custom marketing plan for you, so that way we've got a good path to follow. And so even right now, this time of year, while we want to focus on closing the year out strong, it's also starting to be the time where we start thinking about, what do you want next year to look like, and what do we think needs to be in place to do that. So certainly reach out to us to get one of those scheduled. The IAMS website, again, we've done a significant amount of work on this over the years to add resources to this. And so we found a lot of advisors have been utilizing this, whether it's running quotes, whether it's getting rates, doing e-applications, whether it's on Firelight or iPipeline, but it's got a significant amount of resources on there to help you do business virtually, as well as traditional business as well. And so if you're not, if you're licensed and haven't set up a username and a password to this yet, I would encourage you to do so. And if you're an advisor that hasn't currently got contracted with IAMS, I would encourage you to talk to a sales director. They can talk to you about contracts that you might want to set up over here, and then get you a username and a password to the site. But it is a huge resource. Again, following that theme with technology, the ability to go through and do presentations virtually is a necessity in today's environment. And so Retirement Analyzer is a very effective software platform that allows you to, in a simple and straightforward manner, illustrate how much income somebody's going to have in retirement, and if they're not on pace to hit their goals, what solutions you can bring to the table to help them solve that. And so if you're a licensed producing agent with IAMS, we'll go ahead and cover the cost of that software. If you're interested in taking a look at it, reach out to a sales director. We can get you a demo set up so you can go in there and kind of test it out. But we've seen a lot of success using this platform over the course of this year, especially in the virtual appointments. Lastly, I wanted to take a minute and talk about IAMS Wealth. The trend we've seen over the last few years is more and more agents going out and looking at being an IAR, and so we've got a great platform for it. So what I would encourage everybody is, this is just another value add that you can build out for your client base. So if you've been thinking about maybe getting 65, if you've been exploring that idea, reach out and talk to Charles and his team. They'd be happy to talk to you about it. And if you're currently licensed already and maybe just aren't quite happy where you're at, again, I'd encourage you to reach out to them and chat with them about it as well. They're happy to help you and talk about how they're different and how they can help with your business. So with that, as I mentioned, we've got a very special presenter on the call today. His name's David Bidwell. He's a sales vice president with Lincoln National, overseeing the MoneyGuard product. And as we've seen over the last several years, the long-term care space has gone through a significant evolution. I mean, you could go back 10 years ago and you think about all the carriers that were in the standalone LTC marketplace, and the shift over the last decade into the asset-based market. And part of the reason why I think we see so much growth in there is, well, you know, a lot of people talk about the impact of market volatility, taxes, those types of things as a detriment to a retirement nest egg. A long-term care event can be even more dramatic when you look at the cost of care. And so being able to use pennies on the dollar, insure against that risk, is critically important in today's day and age, making sure that that client's nest egg isn't purely used for that. So I'll hand it over to David. I also want to mention as well that November is Long-Term Care Awareness Month, and we have put together a really good marketing package around asset-based long-term care and long-term care riders, and kind of the is-does means of how those work, as well as some really good marketing and prospecting pieces. And I'll mention that again at the end of the call. But David, we appreciate you being on the call today, and I'll hand it over to you.
Thanks so much, Curtis, and thanks everyone. Hopefully you can see my screen, Curtis.
Yep.
Awesome. And you see today's agenda on the screen?
Yeah, it's big though. Maybe I need to maximize my screen. Yeah, it's cutting part of it off, but I can get the general thrust of it.
Okay. Um, because I do have some problems sometimes when I'm showing my screen. So let me make sure that you can see it. Okay. So today's agenda, Curtis, and thanks again for the invite, especially during for kicking off Long-Term Care Awareness Month, which is always the month of November. I want to go into a couple topics. We're going to talk about Lincoln's strengths and ratings. A quick review of the MoneyGuard product. The great thing about MoneyGuard, it's a real simplified product, so there's not a lot of moving parts. It's easy for you to understand and more importantly, to explain to a client, therefore making it really user-friendly for the client to understand. I'm going to talk about some claim stats, talk about our e-solutions as well, finish up with a sales idea, and give you access to our marketing collateral through our microsites. So, been through, in the past 20 years, been through a couple trying times, one in 2008 through the Great Recession and kind of just recently, obviously, with COVID. And Lincoln was very well capitalized in 2008 for that, the Great Recession. However, as of today, 2019, 2020, we are even better capitalized with almost double the statutory capital of what we had back then. You can see our investment grades have gotten better. Assets under management have gotten better. Lincoln literally learned a lesson during the Great Recession of 2008 and got ready for something to happen. And unfortunately, lo and behold, it did happen with COVID. So we are in good shape as we've ever been at Lincoln to help provide and deliver upon that commitment that everyone on this call does, and that's delivering on the promise you sold and we made, and that's through our Lincoln MoneyGuard policies. So, oftentimes when times are good economically, agents and agencies and even home office people like myself get away from talking about what I think is the most important part of the promise of Lincoln, and that is, how are we rated? AM Best were A+, Fitch A+, Moody's were the 5th highest rating, and Standards & Poor were the 4th highest rating. Now, I like to use the Comdex rating. We are somewhere between 90 and 93 on the Comdex. We are a big, strong company who was the pioneer in developing this asset-based long-term care space. In fact, as of today, we have over 50% market share in this space. And there are 2 carriers total, us and another carrier, happens to be domiciled in Indianapolis, very good carrier, that have over 75% market share. We know what we're doing. However, we are seeing, and I'm sure you are, the greatest thing that could happen to the asset-based LTC industry is competition. And that's exactly what's happening. We are seeing more and more life insurance companies enter into the asset-based long-term care world. In fact, I heard a couple more popping up just recently. So we're getting competition. Why is that good? Because we know we do it just as good, if not better, than any other carrier when it comes to service and the promises that we deliver or the benefits of the policy, and it keeps us on our toes to be nimble and creating and looking at new products for the future. So we love competition. Now, the basics of Lincoln MoneyGuard are this. We used to have buckets. We just recently spent a lot of money to go to piggy banks. As you can see on the left-hand side of the screen, the largest portion of Lincoln MoneyGuard, the biggest piggy bank, so to speak, is actually the LTC benefit. Take a look at the middle, the legacy portion. That's the death benefit, a little bit smaller. And then over on the right-hand side of the screen, the smallest piggy bank is the opportunity to get your money back. Currently, with Lincoln MoneyGuard 3, you can get up to you get 70% of every deposit you make back at any time. So here's how MoneyGuard has gotten better. With MoneyGuard 3, the money back guarantee, the 70%, is after each deposit. So obviously, if you're making a single deposit of $100,000, you can get 70% of it back right away, $70,000. But let's just say you're giving us $10,000 a year for 10 years. You've paid 5 years, you would get 70% of what you paid over the 5 years back. Always getting 70% of the deposit. We never have done that before, and double check with the competition or another company when you're quoting, because I don't think many give truly that much back early on. We just switched with MoneyGuard 3 to enhance that 70%. Now, the great news is not a lot of people, it's actually between 2 to 4% actually ask for their money back at any point. But it's nice to know that they can get their money back with Lincoln MoneyGuard. Now, as we like to say, these 3 piggy banks create what we call live, quit, or die. Meaning the live portion is for long-term care, the die portion is the death benefit of the policy, and the quit portion is getting your money back. So let's dig into the basics of Lincoln MoneyGuard. First thing you should know, it's a 0-day elimination period product. What does that mean? That means there is 0 elimination period for you. One second, let me get right here. There is a 0-day elimination period. That means no money out of your pocket, 0 out of your pocket. The first day your client needs coverage, they will get somebody there. We also offer 2 forms of billing. Why is that important? We offer both reimbursement and direct billing. So let's talk about those 2. Reimbursement means if your client wants, they can pay the bill when they're on claim. We would then reimburse them for what that cost, as long as it's under their monthly benefit, so to speak. So let's just give you an example. They bought $10,000 a month coverage. Their bill this month happens to be $5,000. That extra $5,000 they didn't use stays in their pool of money, number one. And number two, when they pay that, they simply send us a copy of what they paid. We send them a check. Now, we found that not a lot of clients like that want to be in the bookkeeping business while they're on claim. Guess what? They don't have to be. We offer what's called direct billing. So important, because the family members may be out of town. Dad's worried because grandma had his wife had a stroke. He's going in between facilities, trying to make sure grandma's care is up to speed and she's comfortable. Grandpa doesn't want to be in the accounting business. You don't want to be in accounting business. Your clients don't want to be in the accounting business. So what we do is we will bill the facility and work with them directly, meaning the only thing your client gets every month is what we paid out of their MoneyGuard policy to the facility or even to the home health care aide. We will direct bill any form of payment to wherever there or to whomever is providing care. Now with MoneyGuard 3, we start writing at age 30. Our issue ages with MoneyGuard 3 are between ages 30 and ages 70. The highest we will currently go is age 70. Now, One thing that makes MoneyGuard unique, and every company says, well, we got concierge care. We have concierge care, but our concierge care or concierge care coordination as well, what that means is you have one person at Lincoln that handles your claim, and we'll get into this in a little bit. But not only do we have that one person, from day one when you have a MoneyGuard policy, you get access to your caregiver's network. You get access to a whole bunch of services. You get a website. You get website access to what we call Plan My LTC, that you can actually start planning your LTC and where and how you want to get it before you even go on claim. You can set up these care circles, which are really unique. I'd be happy to do a WebEx sometime in the future. But what that does is it simply allows you to plan your care out in advance. It's like with the care circle, simply what it means is you set up a social network and you can invite people in to see what's happening with grandma's care at any time. It's really cool, really unique. Oh, and by the way, with that Plan My LTC website, the cost of membership is having a Lincoln MoneyGuard policy. Also, what happens is you get access to cost of care for facilities or home health care. Let's just say you're in Lincoln, Nebraska, and you want to find a place for grandma. You simply put in her zip code, put 25 miles away, and it will give you the list of assisted living facilities. It'll tell you how many people it'll hold, what levels of care they offer, what meals they offer. Do they offer diabetes management? Do they offer medicine, prescription management? Really, really unique, and in some cases it will tell you what the cost is. It is a lifesaver. So if you've never dealt with somebody or a client going on claim, you as the agent, this makes you look like the hero. So that's what's called Plan My LTC. It comes with every Lincoln MoneyGuard policy, whether it was sold in the past, present, or future. We also cover all levels of care with MoneyGuard, from home health care, adult daycare, assisted living facility, nursing home, hospice. Caregiver training. We'll send your loved ones to get trained. We have international benefits, all countries, up to 3 years worth of benefit. Also unique to MoneyGuard 3 is what we call transitional care assistance. Now, this is a little tricky, so bear with me. What we will do with your Lincoln MoneyGuard policy during the first year of care at home, you have to be receiving care at home, you can get up to 6 months of your benefit in cash to a maximum of $3,000 per month. I'll give you an example. Again, you have $10,000 a month benefit. Cost of care at home is $6,000. You can get $3,000 of that in cash. $3,000 additional. So we'll give you that $6,000 out of your policy to cover your care. Another $3,000 to do whatever you want with. You get 6 months of that cash. It's called transitional care assistance. Really what it's for is we find in the industry that the cost of care for a claim early on, especially at home, is much higher than as it is 6 to 12 months into the claim. Why? You have to set things up. You may want to fly the family members in. The great thing about this transitional care assistance benefit, no receipts. If you want to buy grandma a jacuzzi to make her feel better, you can do it. And by the way, I just purchased a jacuzzi. If you can find the new jacuzzi during COVID, let me know, because they're non-existent right now. Just an example. Also, alternate plan of care. We are alternate care benefit. We are one of the only carriers in the space that has alternate plan of care. Here's what it means. What that means is if the delivery system for grandma's care is not, or your care, let's just say you're 50 years old. You are 50 years old, you own a MoneyGuard policy, you go on claim 40 years from now. Guess what? We don't have a specific robotic benefit. We foresee robots giving you care at home. This will cover, this language enables the policy to grow with what could be a delivery system for your care tomorrow. Another example would be if they find out through SpaceX or through the whole going to the moon that they're building an Alzheimer's colony on the moon because Alzheimer's is suspended on the moon, we would consider covering it under Lincoln MoneyGuard. Why is that important? Because 40 years ago, there was no such thing as assisted living facility. This benefit, this alternate care benefit, would have covered that. In some cases, if the policy you bought 40 years ago didn't have the assisted living facility spelled out, the company didn't have to cover it. This is a catch-all that says, buy today and we'll cover you for tomorrow, even if it's not invented to help you stay at home or wherever to receive care comfortably in the future. Okay, let me transition the slide. 1 second, please. And that is, I want to explain to you why or how the actual 0-day elimination period is literally a lifesaver, not only for you, but for your client. If you want to make a client mad, sell them insurance, and then when they need it, tell them they have to wait. That's known as a deductible. Or in long-term care, what it's known as is an elimination period. So the cost of an elimination period, if somebody has a 90-day elimination period today, it's going to cost them anywhere between $12,000 to $27,000 in today's dollars. That's the average cost of care of what it costs if you have a 90-day elimination period on your long-term care policy. Again, MoneyGuard doesn't have one, so there's no money out of your pocket when you need care. But guess what? Those figures I just gave you were in today's figures. What happens tomorrow? You can see, using a 3% average growth over the next 20 years, it almost doubles. It'll be $22,000 for home health care and almost $50,000 that you have to pay out of your pocket before your policy kicks in. That's a lot of money. So guess what? We, in MoneyGuard, you do not have to worry about that at all because there is no elimination period. Now, we, as Curtis have said, most of their carriers, including Lincoln, have really, in the past 6 to 7 months, have really transitioned into doing business where people are today in the virtual world. We have an entire suite of e-options available. We have an e-app. The e-app literally has DocuSign built in. It took me 8 minutes to fill out an app from start to finish using this. Also, we have e-policy delivery. In addition, we have e-forms. So if you might have missed a form or we need an additional form, don't worry. We can DocuSign it and send you to you virtually. And we just are about to announce that on November 16th, which is 2 weeks from today, we will be going to online PHI scheduling. Everybody on this call will be getting a follow-up as soon as I have a press release available, which should be later this week. I'll work with Curtis and make sure everybody gets this. We will be one of the first companies in asset-based long-term care to offer ePHI, which is a phone history interview. It's no longer, it still has an option to have somebody call you. If you do that, it's about a 20 to 30 minute call. However, with the e-interview, your client within a day or two of submitting their app will get an email to complete the PHI online in real time whenever's convenient for them. We are giving you the option and your client the option to take kind of the biggest time waste in underwriting, because just to let you know, MoneyGuard's a simplified issue product. We get a PHI on everyone, and we really don't get a lot of APSs, but if we have to get an APS, we will. A lot of it's based on what happens in the phone interview, or which will be the online interview. However, we're a simplified issue product. Now with ePHI or e-interview, it will make the whole process even quicker. In fact, I just heard that we've had this on our life side at Lincoln, and it's cut between 4 and 5 days off in underwriting. What does that mean? It means a lot of good things. Anytime we can make underwriting quicker. Why? Buyer's remorse doesn't set in. You get paid quicker. You get a policy to your client quicker. It's a win-win all the way around. So really looking forward to that. Again, we at Lincoln have a whole suite of e-solutions for you. In addition, as I said, we have the e-app. It has gone extremely well. It's available through either our website or through iPipeline. Simply, it's about a 8, at most 10-minute process, and it requires a DocuSign. If you've purchased anything recently of value, or not of value, but anything big, for instance, I just bought a house, I just refinancing my car. When I see DocuSign and I sign a couple places and it's good electronically, I love it. In addition, when you use our e-app, and it's got great reviews, when you use that, you cannot submit it if something isn't filled out correctly. So it doesn't let you make a mistake. Again, speeding up the underwriting process. Now let's take a look at some of our claim stats at Lincoln Financial. This is super interesting. And by the way, our claims team is located in the United States at Lincoln's facility in Greensboro, North Carolina. That's where all our claims are handled. Our average length of somebody with the claims with Lincoln is 12 years. As a long-term care or care specialist, as they're called, they have averaged 8 years. These are well-tenured, well-experienced people. And by the way, when your client calls and initiates a claim at Lincoln, that person on the claims phone who picks up the line will be the person that they and their family deal with for the entire length of the claim. That is so important. How many times have I called somewhere to get customer service and I have to tell my story 3 or 4 times on that phone call to 3 or 4 different people? It gets frustrating. It gets tiring, actually. Well, guess what? It's even worse when you have somebody on claim. That's why we really have beefed up and made the most important part of your Lincoln MoneyGuard policy, not the benefits are important, but the claim is the most important. Now let's take a look at how we pay our claims. If we take a look at all our MoneyGuard policies that are 30 plus years, and by the way, we've been in this business, Lincoln MoneyGuard's been around 30 plus years, 51%, over half of our claims are paid to an assisted living facility or residential care facility. Next biggest, about 37% are home health care, only 11% are nursing home, and then 1% are other. What are others? Something like adult daycare or community care. What's the average age at which somebody goes on claim that has a Lincoln MoneyGuard? Age 83. So when we design quotes, when we're looking at numbers, you will always have us show you, and we will always talk about, let's look at age 83. Why? Because that's the average claim that somebody goes on claim with a Lincoln MoneyGuard policy. The top 3 reasons for that somebody goes on claim, either Alzheimer's or dementia, which, by the way, is really difficult to detect and screen for. somebody with a sense organ or nervous system issue, and then number 3 is stroke. Now, what you're seeing on the screen is the old way versus the new way when it comes to LTC planning and purchasing an LTC policy. The old way, before Lincoln came and really beefed up our claims process, was the policy sold, and in the middle between when the policy sold and the customer calls to go on claim, 0 happens. In fact, 9 out of 10 times the client forgets where they put their policy. Well, guess what? Now, with pre-planning with Lincoln MoneyGuard and Plan My LTC, that I explained previously, that comes with every Lincoln policy, the policy is sold, the dialogue begins, you start working, establishing your care circle. You are proactive rather than reactive when a claim actually happens. You're actually well prepared with Lincoln. In fact, in Plan My LTC, you can download a copy of your Lincoln MoneyGuard policy or any other documents in a secure vault that actually could be important to grandma. You can put her power of attorney in there. You can put all kinds of legal documents in that secure site that comes with your Lincoln MoneyGuard policy. It is awesome. It is state of the art, and I've been in long-term care almost 30 years. Lincoln is so far above our competition when it comes to claim and LTC planning, it's not even funny. So you get really, with Lincoln MoneyGuard, yeah, you get an excellent long-term care policy, but you also get something that no other company has, and that is we help you start planning for the potential of going on claim. Here's what it looks like, the website. This is Plan My LTC. You can see over on the right-hand side, that's actually a screenshot. We have tips and to-dos. Love that site. Why? Because inside that tab, if you've never put somebody into a assisted living facility, if you've never put your parents into the assisted living facility and you're going to see it for the first time, you have no idea what to ask. Well, guess what? Inside that tab, there's a pre-populated list of questions for you to ask when you go visit an assisted living facility. Then we have Find My Services, which helps you find either home health care or community options, any level of service. We have a cost of care map in there. The care circles, which is virtually, as I said, it connects loved ones with grandma at time of claim. We have a library of videos. And then we have next steps. You can actually do an online assessment of grandma inside Plan My LTC. It will help you gauge whether or not grandma needs to go on claim or not. Of course, it's all going to be left to an underwriter, but it'll give you an idea if you should start the claims process. When in doubt, start a claim is what I like to say. And again, this site, Plan My LTC, comes with every single MoneyGuard policy that has been sold, will be sold, or that is sold. Now, real quick sales idea before I wrap things up, and that is people often say long-term care is expensive. Well, what we say is let's take a look at what we call the 50-10 hedge strategy. And what does that mean? It helps you hedge against a long-term care risk by solving for the benefit that covers 50% of nursing home costs. Now, why do we do that? Because if you solve for 50% of the cost of nursing home, generally, it will cover 100% of home health care. Why is that important? Because nobody tells you when they want to go into nursing home. They all want to receive care at home. So this way, you're using as a gauge what the cost of care is at home and solving for it rather than trying to push something on somebody. Again, majority of the people, as you can see from the stats, are either in an assisted living facility, which are beautiful facilities, or at home. Almost 40, I think the stat was 80 to 85% are receiving care in those two places. Again, this helps minimize, and by the way, we call it the 50-10 because you're solving for 50% of the cost of a nursing home. The 10 number is spread it out over 10 years. So rather than doing a single pay, do a 10 pay. Or guess what? If you're 30 years old, you can do a 40 pay. So there's a lot of different pay options we now have available. Don't think of Lincoln MoneyGuard as it was once thought of, and that is a single dump-in product. We are much more than that now. If you haven't taken a look at MoneyGuard lately, boy, you're missing something because we've really changed towards the future, not only with policy design, but as I said, the claims through Plan My LTC. So lastly, again, the 50-10 hedge strategy, you can take a look at our what care cost. And again, great site. It's, if you see it down at the bottom of the left-hand side, whatcarecost.com. If you want to log in, you simply use Lincoln as the code sponsor. It'll get you right in. You don't have to register yourself. Again, it's whatcarecosts.com, and the sponsor code is Lincoln. I'll leave that up just a little bit more. So it will give you a cost of nursing home, assisted living facility, home health care, not only in every state, but virtually every major city throughout the United States. We get lots of rave reviews on this, and it'll help you design the 50-10 hedge strategy, especially if you have clients that say, well, I'm in Nebraska now, but we're really going to retire in Southwest Florida. Well, what's the cost of care? You can use whatcarecost.com to figure out what care costs in Southwest Florida, for example. Lastly, we have a great piece that I will make sure I'll send out to Curtis to distribute to everybody on this call. It's called the Asset Identifier. Simply what this does is it helps you identify when you're doing a fact finder with a client. It talks about what care cost and helps you identify which assets your clients are going to use to pay for that cost of care. And if they choose to do nothing, you can have them sign off and say, I chose to do nothing. I don't want to address long-term care at this time through a long-term care policy. And it kind of covers you, the advisor, and saying, well, we literally talked about this. They decided not to do it. But it's kind of an eye-opener when you do this. So it helps you identify assets, the cost of care, and decide whether a client wants to purchase insurance to cover the risk. Lastly, as I finish things up, we have a relatively new microsite called the MoneyGuard Launchpad. It is at lfg.com/MG Launchpad. The great thing about this, and I'll leave this up for a little bit too, write down lfg.com MG Launchpad. This is a microsite. You do not have to register to get in. It has brochures out there. It has sales tools, email campaigns, social media campaigns. We have underwriting guides and tools. We have links to videos. We have links to Plan My LTC, and we have both agent and client presentations. And it's available in every state that you're in because this is all approved material based on your state. Again, lfg.com/MoneyGuard Launchpad. Great site. You don't have to register to get in. It's available by just bookmarking and clicking on it, and you have access to every single piece we have available for Lincoln MoneyGuard. With that, Curtis, I'm going to turn it over to you, and thank you so much for the invite, and hopefully I provided some insight to kick off Long-Term Care Awareness Month. Again, thank you, everybody, for your time, and Curtis, I'm going to turn it back to you.
Appreciate that, and thank you for the presentation, David. I hope everybody sees the same way that we do, which is that there's a huge opportunity in the marketplace for these types of products. Almost every household in some way, shape, or form is going to have to deal with an LTC event, and so utilizing this type of a product and using pennies on the dollar to maximize that benefit pool is a really, really good strategy. So I would encourage everybody, give us a call, talk to a sales director. If you've got a client in mind, they can go through and run some designs on this. If you want some additional ideas of how to market these types of ideas, give us a call. We did put together our long-term care awareness month sales kit, and we've got a number of prospecting pieces in there that you can send out, whether you want to do some direct mail, email, do some marketing on social media. We've got a number of different resources on there. So I appreciate the time from everyone today. Have a good rest of the week, and we're looking forward to speaking with you. Thank you.